It's time for the 2015 Tiki and Tierney NFL Training Camp Two-A-Days as we visit all 32 NFL camps to preview the upcoming season. Chicago Bears, 5-11, last in the NFC North.
Snap is to Cutler, looking left, being chased now. Pumps, rolling to his right, throwing into the end zone, adjusting to the ball, and catching it is Alshon Jeffrey. Touchdown, touchdown Bears.
After another disappointing season, questions swirl about the future of franchise QB Jay Cutler with the Bears. But new head coach John Fox is not worried about his signal caller.
Made the commitment. Time will tell for all of us. I've watched Jay compete in the past. We gained a lot of information moving forward. I think there's a talent level there. Obviously, we feel good enough to explore.
Brandon Marshall is gone, but Alshon Jeffrey has a new running mate with the uber-talented Kevin White from West Virginia. Can this new receiver tandem help propel Cutler and the offense back into prominence?
No, first they have to get Kevin White healthy and then maybe take a step forward with that. Obviously, Jeffrey's a beast. Right now, we'll talk about the Bears. Joining us on the Ring Central Hotline is Tom Thayer. You might recognize the name. He's in the NFL for a long time. Old lineman, and he's part of the Bears radio team. He's a color analyst. And, of course, efficient, easy-to-use business communication solutions. Make sure you go to ringcentral.com to get all of that. Mr. Thayer, how are you, buddy? Tiki and Tierney on CBS Sports Radio. What's happening?
I'm doing well, guys. I appreciate you having me.
Our pleasure, Tom. First question, obviously, it has to be about Jay Cutler. How's he looked so far in camp, and is his attitude? I think that's the most important thing with him. Any different?
His attitude has been better. Adam Gase, a young offensive coordinator, they kind of have that preseason connection mentally. But I think it all amplifies as you start approaching the regular season. So the key ingredient here is Alshon Jeffrey is missing some practice with a pulled calf. Kevin White is going to miss maybe the whole season with a shin ailment.
Ugh.
And so one thing I do think is that it's always been the intentions to take some of the responsibility, some of the downfield responsibility away from Jay, and then start putting it on the shoulders of the offensive line, Matt Forte, and the other running backs. And the guy who's having the best camp of anybody is tight end Martellus Bennett. So it's kind of a weird transformation where it's not going to be Jay's got to be the best player on offense to get the ball downfield. The offensive line has to be the best unit on the field, and then the running backs and tight ends got to be A1 and A2.
Yeah, you mentioned those two guys, and I think they are very important for quarterbacks to be successful, particularly Martellus Bennett because he is in a contract year. Matt Forte had 102 catches last year. He's one of the 5 or 6 complete backs, can do everything, block, catch, and run. What's his production going to be like, or his use factor going to be like this year?
I actually hope it's a little bit less than last year because it was Matt Forte, and that's basically all it was. I think the coaches, they didn't feel that the rest of the running backs coming in the game could be held up against all your obligations as a running back, whether it's be catching, passing, or blocking a blitzer. And Matt is a 3-down capable back. But I see this year they drafted Jeremy Langford. They have Daniel Thomas, who's having a strong camp. They have Kadeem Carey, who they drafted last year, and they got Jaquez Rogers from Atlanta. So they do have a slew of running backs that can take some of the pounding away from Matt Forte, and that is going to be the key to Matt in the latter part of the season because 100+ catches and all those carries. I don't think running backs. Running backs can't take that multiple years in a row.
No, wears you out.
So to Tom Thayer, former old lineman for the Bears, as we preview Chicago right now. Obviously, an ominous start with we mentioned Kevin White. But anytime a team's coming off, 4, 5, 6 wins, and the first guy they pick in the first round might miss the season, that's not good. I wanted to bring it back to the overall chemistry, the vibe in the locker room, because we had Tiki was out last week. I had a chance to chat with Jared Allen, and the way Marshall positioned responsibility or taking responsibility, that he held Cutler accountable. Forte challenged that. It just seems like from a distance that it's not just the defense that's a problem and making sure you keep Forte fresh, but it seems like there's other things that can really destroy a season are still kind of floating around the Bears locker room. Is that off base, Tom?
I think a lot of that is gone. I don't think I think Mark Trestman, the new offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, the old head coach here, I think he's a heck of a football coach. But in terms of being in control of the locker room, it shouldn't be up to the players to hold people accountable. It should be about the evaluation from the coaches on a week-to-week basis as you're preparing for the games. And if you're not holding up to the end of your bargain, then that's the coach's responsibility. And it's a lot easier to say that I held somebody accountable after the fact. But again, I say there wasn't a lot of accountability on both sides, on every facet of the football team last year, and that's why they have a new head coach in here. I think John Fox has increased the accountability tenfold because every message comes from John Fox. You're not going to get it from an assistant coach. You're not going to get a rumor mill started. If it doesn't come from John Fox's mouth right now, it's not a real message out of the locker room.
All right, so laying the seeds and try to get a foundation going out there in Chicago. Tom Thayer, former Bear, part of the broadcast team. Tom, appreciate a couple of minutes. Enjoy the rest of camp and the start of the season. It's coming up soon. Can't wait.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yep, I'm sure we'll be chatting throughout the season here.
Yeah, I hear that. You hear that about John Fox. You hear every step of the way he's been from even when he was a coordinator with the Giants. When I was there, it's always about fairness and controlling the message and being accountable. I think is what he brought to Carolina when they were an expansion team. He took it to Denver, and even though it didn't ultimately work out for them because of some failings, really, of their offense in the postseason, they need this in Chicago because it's felt like a drifting ship for a couple of years now.
Yeah.